All right, hello and welcome to another Expert Inside interview. My name is John Golden from Sales Pop, online sales magazine, and Pipeliner CRM. Joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Melissa Darnay, who is in probably an equally, if not more sunny Panama. How are you doing?
Great. Where the weather's always wonderful.
Yeah. So, Melissa is an American entrepreneur, has been living in Panama since 2012. She's the founder of Choose Panama, a luxury real estate and rental agency based in Panama City. And you specialize in helping clients find the perfect investment properties that align with their personal dreams and financial goals. And your unique approach sets you apart from other real estate professions. You guide clients from first inquiry through every stage of settling into Panama, and you offer support long after the transaction's complete.
That's correct.
So, yeah, so what I want to talk about today is why Panama, why invest there, why it's a good option. I know people who watch Sales Pop, we often do some investment ones videos, and they're always very popular. Especially real estate investment. So, Melissa, just number one, what attracted you to Panama in the first place?
It was the perfect storm of a beautiful location, a lot of course, natural beauty, great weather, and because it has the American dollar and the American presence, it was sort of like, it's definitely its own country, but all the things you want, like high-speed internet and a stable economy, it had all that with the added benefits of the good weather and the
Mm.
beautiful surroundings. So it was just that perfect storm of having everything that I needed. And then once I moved here and started in my real estate business, most people also have sort of a checklist of what makes them feel secure when they're investing. So it not only meets my checklist, but it meets the checklist of a lot of other people as well.
So, if you were going to look at, let's look at two different scenarios. Number one, if you were looking to buy a property and move to Panama, say, obviously from the US, say, for instance, how difficult or easy is that process?
It's actually really easy. The sales contract when you buy a property is about 4 pages. You double that because it's typically both English and Spanish, so it's 8 pages bilingual. I mean, I think most Americans can't even fathom buying a anything for 4
No,
pages.
no, you buy anything, any property here, the preamble is 4 pages at least.
That's right. So it's a very simple there are no gotchas. A lot of times people, if it's, a buyer and a seller, we often have situations where they share an attorney. So it's a really easy, it's a step above a handshake, but definitely 27 steps below, the very litigious contract heavy things that we're used to in the United States.
Yeah, and why is it why is it so simple? Is it because of that? Is it because there's a less litigious, environment?
Yes, I mean, I think that's what it boils down to. The Latin culture is very much into family and very much into, my word is my bond.
Mhm.
So when you take that and you combine it with the less litigiousness, it just makes every transaction here a little simpler. Certainly, there can be hard ones, like if you're gonna go to a part of the country where you have untitled raw
Sure.
land, that's gonna be complicated. But for the typical titled, buy a condo on the beach, transaction, it's very, very simple.
Mm. And if you decide that you wanna buy a place and actually move there and live there, what qualifies you to be domiciled in Panama?
So buying a property, you do not have to be a resident. You do not have to have any ties of Panama. We've had people actually quite it happens quite a bit where they buy over the phone, over email. They've never been here. So you can do a sale without doing anything else. If you're going to move to Panama from the US, it's very easy. There are two main visa options. There's the Friendly Nations visa, which means that you come from a country such as the US, which is friendly to Panama. Therefore, you can move here, become a permanent resident, and you can even work here if you wanted to. So
Mm.
the visa option I have is the Friendly Nations visa. The next type of visa is the pensionado visa. That's the pensioner's visa. So for someone who's going to retire and doesn't need to work, that's a great visa.
Right.
Not only does it allow you to live here full time, but you get discounts everywhere at restaurants. It's like 25% at restaurants, 25% at airport, if you, for airfare that begins and ends in Panama. Um, Medical care, hospital visits, even movie theater tickets, and it ranges from about 15% to 50% discount, so it's a great visa.
Wow, a country that takes care of its elderly. There you go.
Right.
Yeah. And then, okay, so so that's moving and living there. So if you wanted to invest, right, what kind of investment properties are open to you, and what are the ones that you recommend, or the ones that are most popular?
Again, the only thing an investor cannot purchase is something within 10 kilometers of an international border, and there's really nothing on that tiny slice of Colombia and Costa Rica that's interesting anyway.
Hmm.
The most interesting things for pure investment and pure ROI are located in and around Panama City because there are so many industries in Panama. Everyone thinks of the canal, but there are so
Yeah.
many more things here. There's banking, financial services, there's over 100 different banks. There are multinational companies who have their Latin American headquarters here. Those are companies like Procter& and Gamble, L'Oreal, Samsung. So with over 120 of those in certain areas of the city, if you buy an investment property and it becomes available in the morning, it's going to be rented again by the afternoon. It's
Wow.
almost Manhattan-esque in how quickly, um, apartments in those areas do rent.
Right.
So something like that, and you can get into an apartment in that area for about $250,000.
$250,000, and then you can get like rentals or say what?
Yes, so most of the rentals in Panama City will be greater than 45 days because of a law that's been on the books pre-Airbnb. So that
Mhm.
was from 2012. There are a few new projects that have short-term rental licenses like a hotel. So those are really exciting. We actually have our first independent living
Mm.
project, and that is something in the US that's become so expensive,
Yeah.
and here, they're really doing a test here because, of course, in the Latin mind, you take care of your parents when they
Yeah.
get older, you don't put
Yeah.
them somewhere, so they can't even imagine it, but since the day I moved here in 2012, I've been telling like, it's been on my soapbox, you need to have more things like this because my parents, your parents, they're all getting older, and a lot of them can't afford the US anymore for the independent, living facilities, let alone the care facilities.
Yeah, yeah. No, the cost here is prohibitive. It's ridiculous. I mean, it really is. And yeah, I could see how going somewhere like Panama could be very, because it's let's just for so people know, like what's the shortest flight from Panama to the US?
Obviously, to Miami, it's 2.5 hours.
Hmm.
It's nothing.
Right.
To, Dallas, it's about 3 hours. To California, you're looking at maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
But there is a direct flight from Los Angeles
Right.
on.
So you're basically the longest is basically flying from the East Coast. It's equivalent to flying from the East Coast to the West Coast
Correct.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for people who are looking for, okay, you said, in Panama City, but for people who are saying like, oh, what about some place on the beach or by the beach or near the beach? What are those properties like?
So there are different things. There's a lot of clients that we have who say, "Okay, I want something for me. I want a vacation property,
Mm.
but I also want to rent it out when I'm not using it to make it cash flow positive."
Yeah.
With something like that, you can get something on the beach we have a Coronado too. So the Coronado Beach area in Panama, you can get something starting about $200,000.
Mm.
And one of the things that separates Panama really from the rest of the world is the carrying costs here are so low. We have no natural disasters, no tornadoes, no hurricanes, no earthquakes, no fires. So
Wow.
because of that, when you talk about insurance, if you're going to insure a property for if you purchase a property for $200,000, you're going to pay about 1/10 of 1%, which is only $200 a year in your
Wow.
fire and structure insurance.
Wow,
So it's
that's like free basically.
it's a dinner out.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like, for instance, for 200,000, what would you be looking at in terms of like size and that and amenities?
So for 200,000, that's absolute beachfront.
Sure.
So first of all, you'll get absolute beachfront. You'll take
Oh,
10 steps and you'll be on the beach.
wow.
Next thing, it's gonna be about 750 square feet. So it's a nice vacation
Yeah,
home,
yeah, yeah.
a huge home, but it's a vacation home. You could buy 2 and put them together. But you're also going to have a lot of amenities such as multiple swimming pools, a a m a bar area. Some of them are manned, some of them are not. There's going to be a lot of times a restaurant on the property, may not be open all the time, but it's something especially for weekends. There will
Mhm,
be a gym and a sauna and all the typical things you think of. Panama is very much into its amenities in the different apartment buildings. So some of them, like I have one in the city that's right next door to the Johns Hopkins affiliated hospital. And this one is literally going to have like a movie theater and jogging tracks and multiple pools and a health center
mhm,
and a health spa. So yeah, Panama is very into its amenities,
mm.
but even though there are a lot of amenities, you don't pay a lot in HOA. Your typical HOA is gonna range from about, $1.50 to on the low side to maybe $3.50 on the high side per meter. So going back to that $200,000 apartment on the beach that's absolute beachfront, you'll pay about $150 a month in HOA.
Again,
Mm.
that's not
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, and the and just to give people an idea of what the beach is like and, water temperatures and all that?
Yeah, the water temperatures are very stable throughout the year, so it never gets cold. The temperature's upper 70s, low 80s in the water, so it's just nice and refreshing.
Mhm.
We have our water tested where I live. If you're watching this on video, the Panama Canal, the mouth of the Panama Canal is right behind me.
Right.
So that's the Pacific Ocean. So once a year, my board of directors on my building has the water tested, just to make sure. And
Mhm.
year after year, it just comes back as normal seawater. So
Right.
that is just something else that makes you confident to go swim in it.
Mhm. And so, and as you said, Panama is very stable economically, politically. I mean, the days of, any issues there, I think, are long behind it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was one of the things before I'd moved to Panama, I actually thought it was going to be unstable, and
Mhm.
I thought there were going to be I thought there was gonna be a drug dealer on every corner, and I thought there was gonna be, roosters and dirt roads, and it's not, it's like a young Miami. It's
Right,
it's funny, we talk about all the time, expat conversations here tend to be, "I feel safer here than I did when I lived in," fill in the blank.
right,
Definitely
right.
Dallas, definitely when I lived in Southern California, definitely feel safer.
Yeah, so crime rate is low?
Crime rate is low, and specifically, it's low in areas where expats are.
Mhm.
The parts of the country that have the higher levels of crime tend to be on the opposite side of the country where expats don't go.
Right, 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 yeah. And so, okay, so the process, as you said, so the process, if somebody was working with you, what's the process? Say I wanted to buy an apartment either in the city or on the beachfront. Like, what's the process like?
So the first thing we do is we find out what your goals are.
Mhm,
And with real estate, I don't just talk about helping you buy something. I always start with what's your exit strategy?
mhm.
Do you want to keep this forever until you die and leave it to your heirs? Do you want to like make a little bit of money and flip it? Do you want, to use it until then one day you won't want to? Because based on your goals, that's going to help us decide, sort of your risk tolerance,
Right,
to what you're really looking for. A lot of people will come in talking about pure ROI. And then as we get into the conversation, it's like, oh no, what I really want is someplace where I can go use it 3 or
yeah.
4 times a year and it pays for itself. Well, those are 2 different properties.
Mhm.
So, based on what you're looking for and what you want out of it, we're gonna come up with some options for you. And of course, based on your budget, we're going to come up with some options for you. They could be, again, Panama City, they could be in Playa Bonita, which is an area where I am just outside Panama City. It could be the Coronado Beach area. It could be the mountain area of Boquete. So we can help people in any of those areas based on what you're looking for.
Yeah, and if you were buying if say if you were buying a property and you wanted to use it like multiple times a year, but you wanted it to make money for you afterwards, I mean, is in the at the other times, are there can you is it easy to have management companies, or how do you arrange that?
Sure. So in and around the city, we are also a management company.
Okay.
So we have a real estate arm, we have a management arm. So that makes it easy. So you
Yeah.
could buy with us, we could manage your rental. If you're outside of our direct service area, then we could recommend you to someone that we know, that will do a good job.
Yeah, and that would be and with your management company, that's like full service management, so you take care of the
100%
rentals
full
and
service.
everything to do yeah, full service, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then, and as you said, even if you bought a property for renting out, you said it's very easy to rent, properties don't stay on the market very long?
For rental or for purchase?
Even for rental, you said you can rent them out
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
and and it depends on the area.
Sure.
So, because Panama is seasonal and it's not based on Panama, it's based on North America. So,
Mhm.
when there's snow on the ground in Canada, it's high season in
Yeah.
Panama because all the snowbirds come down. During that time, like, literally, there's nothing available in the beaches area. So, if
Mhm.
a lot of Canadians will actually they've already booked their January 2026 accommodations before they've even left from their 2025 visit. So again, snowbird season, everything rents.
Mhm.
In the city, in and around the city, because there's so much commerce, because there's so much demand, you have a higher rentability in the lower season because, of
Mhm.
course, in business, in the city, there's no low season. There's
Right.
always people coming in and around. Whereas the further you get from the city, they do definitely feel the high season and the low season. And that's one of the things when I talk to people about ROI, if someone really, really wants ROI, we can kind of cross some areas off of their list
Mhm.
because those areas, although they might pay the carrying costs, they're not going to give them the ROI that they want.
Right. Yeah, or you would, if you wanted to do that kind of hybrid model, you may say, we'll live there off season and rent out during high season.
Exactly, exactly. And we do have a lot of owners that do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that seems to make sense. And you said the availability, like things go pretty quickly. Are they constantly adding and building? Is this a market that's expanding?
Yes, again, in and around the city, we have several, definitely different areas. So in and around the
Mm.
city, it's growing, growing, growing. Especially there's an area that's called Costa del Este. This is a neighborhood within Panama City. This specific neighborhood is the one that gives tax benefits to all the multinational companies. So if someone wants pure ROI, they wanna diversify their portfolio, they wanna invest in a different area for diversification, but they want ROI, I'm going to specifically pick that area and say,
Mhm.
"Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of projects to look at, but this is the area that's going to get the highest ROI."
Right.
If someone wants a good hybrid where they say, "I wanna come sometimes, but I want the highest ROI that I can possibly get when I'm not there," then I'm gonna choose Playa Bonita because it's still close to the city. It's the only beach that's beach and city. It offers a lot of amenities, but you can rent short term. So you can pop in and out while we're keeping the rental calendar full. Now,
Yeah.
if somebody wants, to be further down the beach, a couple hours outside of the city, then it's gonna be okay. We just have to be honest with you.
Sure.
Again, you're probably gonna cover your expenses, but don't expect really to put any money in your pocket. And then if that's okay with them, then we go look there.
Yeah. And what about getting around transport and stuff? Is it easy to own a car there, or
Super easy. Yeah, super easy. One of the things I love about owning a car here is my mechanic comes to me. I don't have to go to my mechanic. In Panama, you get in-home everything, in-home massage,
yeah.
in-home chef, in-home mechanic.
And the driving, and it's easy to drive around there?
Yeah, if you're used to driving in a big city, you're gonna have no problem in Panama. when we get people from smaller towns, it can be a little intimidating, but
Right.
I certainly don't find it that much different from driving in, I lived in Northern California. Don't find it
Yeah.
that much different.
So it's not like, it's not like some countries a little further south, I think.
No, 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 it's not like Brazil, it's not
Yeah.
like Naples, Italy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my sister-in-law is from Peru. My brother and sister-in-law, they lived in Peru for a time, and he could tell you he can probably drive anywhere in the world now and not be phased. And just one last question. I know we're talking about different types of properties. For say somebody wanted to actually buy a house, like
Mhm.
a single family dwelling or whatever. Like, are those available?
Sure. Again, like most big cities, you could get a house in the city. It's going to be pretty expensive in the
Mhm.
city because the land, it's a smaller
Sure.
area of land. If someone is set on a house, we typically do look outside the city, whether it's a couple hours or many hours. So again, that's another conversation,
Yeah.
that we have with people. One thing we notice though is, as we're all getting older, we may not have wanted an apartment or a condo when we were younger, but it just becomes so much easier to
Mhm.
not have to take care of all the maintenance as you get older, and especially if you have multiple homes in a couple
Sure.
different places, it's easy to just lock it and leave it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thanks so much, Melissa. This has been fascinating. So much information, and seems like an ideal location for hopefully for people who are watching. It sounds like an ideal location. Sounds like it's quite easy to find work with somebody like you and find your dream property, whether it's an investment property, a hybrid, whether you want to go live there. It sounds like I mean, you've been there since 2012. It sounds like you're enjoying living there, yeah?
You're not getting me out of here. I love it here.
So there you go. There's a great recommendation. So all of Melissa's information will be below this video. But before we go, again, remind people what you do.
I'm a luxury real estate broker, and we are full service. So we offer everything from help from your first vacation to purchasing property to managing property to renting it out and everything in between. We can recommend attorneys and insurance people and everything you need to make your transition so much easier.
Yeah, fantastic. And as you said at the beginning, when you're talking about a contract of 4 pages and maybe 8 pages because it's bilingual, I mean that on its own is almost worth looking into because there's not very
Exactly.
much you can buy, particularly now here where we're weighed down with bureaucracy. So that's another great recommendation. So thanks again, Melissa. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again very soon.